So they went from one city to the other, from one province to the other, from here to there from another country. Why? Because someone in that country has a hadith from the Prophet who learned from his teacher and so on. So go and check. You just make up claims because you want to make the Bible superior and the Quran copied from that. And this information God has informed us through revelation, without any embellishment, without any adulteration, without any corruption.
Not yet. No. You didn't make any point.
Stop. I'm not finished. I'm not finished. Now, what we propose is this: an approach that you take with no knowledge of archaeology, no knowledge of history, no knowledge of divine revelation. You just make up claims because you want to make the Bible superior and the Quran copied from that. If I'm not finished, if the Quran,
listen, yes, you
no, I'm not finished.
On camera.
No.
He's assuming.
I'm not finished yet.
About Bible.
If the Quran was copied, stop talking.
He's assuming.
If the Quran was copied from the Bible,
when I speak about Bible,
I'm not finished.
I didn't speak about the Bible.
Okay.
He doesn't have any knowledge whatsoever.
We can't talk to this guy.
Exactly. No.
I am not finished yet.
Because you're talking.
So brothers and sisters. Okay.
This is
anyway.
manipulation.
So if the Quran had been copying from the Bible, what we expect is the Quran should copy even the mistakes and errors of the Bible.
Every loser wants to manipulate.
Does the Quran avoid
point?
Copying, if such thing happened, the mistakes and errors of the Bible?
Not even for
so
one moment.
When we realize the Quran does not copy the errors of the Bible, what it means is the Quran knows exactly what the true history is. So,
you gotta listen.
I'm not finished.
No, you
don't
listen.
interrupt. Be civilized.
No, you're talking crap.
Be civilized. Be civilized.
No, you be civilized.
I'm not finished.
That's a manipulation.
Brothers and sisters,
that's why
this guy got baked, cooked, and roasted. Did Abdullah meet Omar? If he didn't meet and he says, I got it from Omar, that information we can't trust because there was no direct link from him. I'm going to give certain criteria to show you really how we get this information. This individual, Abdullah, how was he as an individual? Was he a man of integrity? Was he truthful? Was he speaking the truth, or did he have a lie? Did he have a good memory? All of this character check was done. Because if he was not known to be a good individual with good character, then we will grade him as someone not reliable. Maybe he was a liar and we would not take any of his words, even though he met and he was receiving this information from Omar and from the Prophet eventually. Because he was a liar, the possibility existed that he may be lying. So we would not take his information. If he was narrating something, we will say this comes from a narrator who is a liar. His information is not something reliable and authentic for us.
So who compiled the hadith?
So there were many compilers from the very beginning to first 100 years, second 100 years, 300 years later. In each stage, many companions. At one point, when people understood the need for it, they started compiling. Yeah, they started compiling books. So within 200-300 years, most of it was compiled because people realized we are actually quite far away now from the time when Prophet was living, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We need to now collect everything about him. So they went from one city to the other, from one province to the other, from here to there from another country. Why? Because someone in that country has a hadith from the Prophet who learned from his teacher and so on. So go and check about him. And this is how it was rigorous and so difficult, cumbersome, laborious this compilation was. So many compilers compiled their collection and they said, look, there's so many information about, I'm going to compile something that is to the standards of extreme high authenticity. Yeah, we call that Sahih Hadith. There are so many compilers like Bukhari and Muslim, Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. Their compilation is called Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari, an abridged title. So what they compiled is, they had certain conditions of acceptability of authenticity. Such a rigorous that even to this day, any social scientist will say you cannot have a higher standard than this. In fact, in our science, in social science, we don't have that kind of standard. Not to this day. But what they developed was far, far in advance from their time to our time and even to the time in future. An advanced level of scientific scrutiny of authenticating information. That's why when we look at authentic hadith of the Prophet, we know with confidence this is what Prophet ﷺ said it.
Well, thank you for the Quran.
Okay,
Nice to
you're
meet
welcome.
you. What's your name?
Mansur. And yours?
John. Nice to
John,
meet you.
nice to meet you. You take care. Thank you.